Hi there, traders. Pavel here from FTMO. It's my great pleasure for introducing one of our founded traders, Daniel. Daniel is in the United States, specifically in California. Welcome, Daniel.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to actually do this interview with you guys.
Thanks so much. I appreciate you taking time, even though now in California it's a midnight of your time, right? Whereas
Yeah,
over here
yeah,
in our Central European time zone, we have 9 in the morning. So
yeah.
thank you for staying late for
All
this
right, it's no
interview.
problem.
Good, good, perfect. So, guys, FTMO is a project where we're looking for successful and experienced traders. Danielle is a great example of one of these traders. We are very happy to introduce this short interview for you so that you're familiar with how the process looks. Danielle will describe his experience trading, challenge, verification, and now being one of our founded traders. So, Danielle, if you could just briefly introduce yourself, tell our viewers who you are, how long do you trade, and what were your beginnings like?
Yes. So like you said, my name is Daniel. I started trading probably like end of 2016. Um, it was a very weird and a strenuous journey. Um, Definitely a lot of failures in the beginning, but I believe if you stick to it, it could actually pay off in the long run. Um, I've been through a lot of courses, a lot of teachers, mentors that didn't work out. I've never tried the actual signals way. It didn't feel like the proper way to go. But I do want to mention my mentor right now, which is BSF's FX. He actually kind of like propelled me to the next level. I actually started working with him this past year, and it's been a real game changer for me to actually step up my actual trading.
Right, that's interesting you saying that. So that's 1 year since you joined this group, and it really
Hmm.
took you to another level, right?
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Before I was kind of struggling with consistency. I was making money, then losing it, making money, then losing it. Trying to trade smaller accounts, and then he's the one that actually brought you guys into my attention. I didn't even know anything like that existed, where I could get a funded trading account. It just wasn't. I just never seen anything like it. So once he actually mentioned it to me, I was just like, wow, like because I was working two jobs, probably like 10 shifts a week, trying to make money to gather money for an actual account. And it was going nowhere. So it was a real blessing for me to find this company and to be able to work for this company.
Sounds great. All right. So before you joined this group, how long were you trading your small accounts?
I'd say probably for like around 2 years. The first year, definitely lost a good amount of money. Second year, I made a little bit of money, but it wasn't great money. It was probably just like I'd say like 10-15% of my account, which was really small at the time.
Right. All right. Well, that's where you've got your beginnings and your education, right? And
Yes.
then you've got a proper course, being part of this group. And as you say, it took you somewhere else, and you are a great example of what you can achieve by taking a proper course, take this trading seriously, and
Hmm.
as a result, you are one funded trader of ours now.
Yes, exactly.
All right.
Um, yeah, go ahead.
Perfect. Well, so since you are now our funded traders, for you especially, getting there was relatively fast. You are with us, I believe, since the beginning of September last year.
Hmm.
You've taken the first challenge. Immediately, you passed the challenge. You went to verification account. You've passed it without any problems, and you've earned your first funded account. So, how was your experience going through the evaluation process and trading in the challenge and verification?
Yeah, to be honest, it may seem like I passed. Oh, I passed the challenge in around 2 weeks, I believe, the first one, and in the beginning it was actually really hard because I didn't know how much mentally it was going to be different from my other account. It was just larger numbers that I wasn't dealing with before. So definitely it was a little struggle in the beginning to just kind of deal with it psychologically. But once I kind of like got the hang of it with the actual numbers, it became kind of simple just to like focus on the percentages instead of focusing on the actual monetary value.
I see. All right. Well, that's really interesting because a lot of our traders usually prefer to have the duration longer than what we have
Hmm.
in the evaluation process, whereas there is duration of 3 months combined, right? There's a 1 month trading in the challenge and 2 months trading in the verification. Whereas you, as you said, you've scored it pretty much fast tracked because minimum requirement in the challenge is 10 trading days, just like in the verification. And it was just enough for you to pass it right away in the challenge and in the verification, and you've got your funded account. So how come that you went this quickly without even taking a free trial? How was the experience with trading objectives? How did you adapt your trading to these trading objectives?
Definitely, it was very. It seems like I passed it without any problems, but it was definitely very challenging to kind of adapt to the daily amount loss and the actual like total amount loss. I was just developing bad habits trading the my smaller account before. So actually doing the challenge made me create new habits where I'm not losing as much in a daily time frame. So I actually believe this challenge actually propelled this and the course I was telling you propelled me to another level where I was just building like better habits from actual trading.
All right. Okay. Perfect. Uh, could you just briefly describe your trading strategy? How do you trade? What setups you look for, or just something about your trading setup? How do you trade?
Yeah, I usually try to just stick to technicals. I'm a technical trader. I do pay attention to fundamentals. If some big news is coming out, I'm more hesitant to trade it. If I'm already in a trade, then I'll just stick in my trade. But usually, the only way I use fundamentals is if news is coming out. I um, try to find setups for those specific pairs and see if the technicals align, and then I'll take trades from there. But as far as my strategy goes, I usually use like Fibonacci trend lines, support and resistance, psychological numbers in the market. I usually look for multiple confluences to take a trade, probably like 3 or 4 confluences before I actually enter a trade, and then that's about it.
All right. So you have a set of charts that you look at, and you constantly keep on changing your indicators. As you said, you're using Fibonacci support resistance. So is it like most of the time, what is most important for you are these technical indicators, and then you look into fundamentals if there is a release which is important that you look if it aligns with your technical setup?
Yes, exactly.
Right. Okay. And how much importance do you give to fundamentals compared to technicals since you're a technical trader?
Fundamentals, I probably say it's like 20%, to be honest. Like I said, I only look for it when major news is coming out. I feel like the technicals usually align with the news, regardless, probably like 75% of the time. So I don't really look at the fundamentals too much. It is important to kind of get that liquidity to push your trade, but I'm mostly technical.
Right. Since you are now a funded trader, you just have to be careful when it comes to certain news releases like NFP. So
Hmm.
the rule says that you have to be flat 2 minutes before the release and 2 minutes after the release on that particular instrument, right? So
Yes.
how do you look into that? When you trade forex and you have some positions open with US dollar, do you close them before, or do you carry them through the release and just having a sufficient stop loss profit target away?
It depends. If I'm not in a trade, like right, if I'm not already in a trade when the news is coming out, I try to wait a little bit while let the market settle down. If I've already been in trade for let's say a day or like half a day or like a few hours, and if I'm in profit, I would usually just put my stop loss to profit or break even, and then if it hits it, then I just re-enter it later, or if I don't, I don't.
I see. All right. Well, since I've mentioned this, I just want to tell our audience, for those of you guys who don't know, we have certain rules when it comes to trading during the news releases, but that is only for funded traders like Danielle. Danielle now has to observe the releases, very few releases actually, not all those major releases, and just be sure that there's no execution on a new position 2 minutes before the release and 2 minutes after release, because of execution problems, slippages, latency, and so. But if you're trading challenge and verification, there is no such a restriction, so you're free to trade news in if that is your trading style. That's just about it. All right. So Daniel, after you've earned yourself your first funded account, you took another challenge right away and passed the entire evaluation process again. And now you have your second funded account, right? So do you trade it differently compared to your first funded account?
A little bit. I feel like my first funded account, I was still kind of learning how to deal with the big numbers. And then once I felt more comfortable, I had I believe, a good first 2 weeks of my first funded account. So after that, I kind of just built more confidence in me to actually do my second challenge and pass that challenge. So now I feel like I have more experience doing this second funded account, but I pretty much trade it the same way.
I see. Yeah, you're doing very good. Your first funded account was at $50,000. Right away
Hmm.
after you've passed and you started trading on your funded account, you took another challenge which is the size of 100,000. So combined, you're managing $150,000 in two different funded accounts, right? The option is here that you can combine these accounts together. That is for those funded traders who prefer to have more accounts as one master account. So this option is there, but you have two different funded accounts because each of them has a different value. That is okay as well. And you making really nice profits there, which is very nice. And I'd like to show our audience your account metrics. So just bear with me. Okay. Right. So let's have a look at your trading history. So what do we have here? We're now looking at your account metrics. We see this particular challenge with $100,000. That is with IC Markets Broker. And what we're looking at, your trading objectives first. Right, so looking at your max daily, the limit is $5,000. You went very near. Your value print on the metrics is 4,778, and max loss, your permitted limit is $10,000. You've touched down 7,800, so you still have some buffer before you get there, but you've got pretty close on the max daily with your equity. So how exactly do you monitor the limits? Do you plug in some mentor application that we provide to our traders, or do you have some software in your trading platform that monitors this?
No, I strictly just calculated myself the pips that it would take in order to get to, let's say, like 4,500 loss or the maximum loss. If I feel confident in trade, I'll let it run a little bit more um, than I usually would, which should be like around 2%. But I pretty much just do everything like by calculating by the pips and percentages.
I see. All right. Okay. Looking at your statistics here, um, I can see that your low win rate is 35%, 35.71%.
Hmm.
But this is compensated with very high risk to reward ratio, which is 2.92, very good. And your average profit is much higher than your average loss, right? So is it this basic thing that you let your profits run and you cutting losses very small, or what is your approach to this?
Yeah, exactly. I try to keep my losses smaller than obviously my profits. Usually, if I lose a trade, it'll probably be like anywhere between 30 to 40 pips, my stop loss. And when I'm winning trades, it's usually around like 150 to 200 pips. So give or take, So I usually try to let my winners run, add more positions to my winners if I find trades within that trade, just to kind of build onto the profit.
All right, okay, good, good. Now let's have a look at the daily summary. Exactly as you say, you have some losing days. On, for example, 10th January, you were down minus 1,500. Previous days
Hmm.
also you've had some minus values here. But once upon a time there's a profit which is really big and it covers for all these losses, right? 13th
Hmm.
December
Yes.
you scored 9,000 in a profit. Recently also 9th of January you've profited $23,700 in one day, which covers all those losses pretty much and gives you very decent profits. Same like for
Hmm.
December, I can see a huge profit here. So that is a really outstanding performance, I would say. Now,
Yes.
yeah,
Sorry.
go
I
ahead.
just want to say, like, my win percentage, it did take a hit in December. Like you said, I had a pretty good sized profit. Um, but my trading wasn't actually the best in December. It was very flip. It was very like seesaw.
Hmm.
But I feel like that's what kind of like took my win percentage down. I like to be honest, I feel like my win percentage would be closer to anywhere like 50 to 60%. That's what I'm kind of like at this month.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
kind of expect that kind of performance from me every month, but last month was kind of like wasn't the best month, I guess, for winning percentage wise.
Yeah. All right. Okay, here's the thing, when I look at your trading journal, I see you only trade forex, right? You don't trade
Hmm.
commodities, you don't trade anything else, indices or so, which is actually very popular in the United States. So how come you
Hmm.
only specify for forex? Is that actually you only have four instruments that you look at. You trade Aussie dollar, US dollar, Euro dollar, but the best profits that you've made is on the USD Canadian dollar and on GBP Aussie. So
Hmm.
how come that you only specify on forex and on only these four pairs?
Well, I try to like stick to what I know. I've never traded commodities when I was learning how to trade, so I feel like every pair has a certain personality to it. They move in different ways, and once you kind of like recognize certain patterns, you kind of start to learn the pair itself. And I've always traded those four pairs, so those are the ones that I'm more familiar with. So those are the ones I try to focus on when I'm looking for setups mostly.
Hmm, hmm. All right, okay. Now, when I look at your open hours, these statistics here indicate that when you open a trade in a New York session, it usually ends up in a loss, right?
Hmm.
So have you ever considered, just skipping the US session and trade in Asian session and London session instead?
Yes, I actually have. Last year, even in December, I was still trying to trade in like around 6 a.m. my time, which is the U.S. session. But I was finding that I wasn't finding the best setups, or I was missing setups during the London session or the Asian session. So now I'm kind of just I'm staying up a little bit later. Like right now, my time is around 12:30.
Hmm.
So I usually stay up till around like 2:30, try to find a setup, and then just go from there.
Right. Well, trading from your time zone is quite challenging, isn't it? Because
Yes.
you have to wake up really early to be with the US Open, or it's actually good for you if you trade Asian session, isn't it?
Yeah, and Asian session is pretty good. There's not much movement, but when there's like Aussie movement, Aussie dollar news coming out, then there should be enough liquidity in the market to actually catch a good trade.
Right. Okay, so when you are where you want to open a trade, how do you define the volume, lot sizing? So do you use some static management or do you choose a percentage of the available balance or how do you define, your position sizing?
I usually just try to stick to the percentage, probably like 1.5 to 2% of the account, the starting account balance.
Mm-hmm.
So I just go off of that to determine like whatever how many pips I want to put my stop loss at, divide it amongst that. But I usually try to stick to my lot size comparative to the amount of risk I'm taking, like percentage wise.
All right, okay. So it means, are you using any calculators, like a pip value calculator? You determine your stop loss to see
Yeah.
how deep you can go with your equity, right?
Yes. Exactly.
All right, okay, great. Let's have a look at the second page of your trading journal here. Yeah, and this is exactly, the situation I was talking about. You've had some losses here, but it was all covered once within one trade here, 13,000 profit. Very nice. All right, so I believe that's pretty much what we can say about your metrics here. Your profit currently today is 13th of January, 14th of January, sorry. So your profit right now is 20,000 US dollars. You're gonna get 70% of this, which will be 14,000 something, which is pretty decent. So how is it you are now a full-time trader? You can pretty much live off these profit withdrawals. This would be your second withdrawal, right? The first one, I
Hmm.
believe we've sent you some $5,000 or something from the first
Yes.
account,
Hmm.
and this time you're gonna get very nice gift
Yeah.
coming into you very soon. 2nd of February is your profit split.
Hmm.
So once you are a funded trader, those traders who didn't see this, your account metrics will indicate profit split. It shows when we withdraw the profit which is there, and we send you 70% of this. So how does it feel? Do you work also, or do you live off your trading results now?
I actually do work. I actually just quit one of my jobs in late December, so right now I only have one job. I'm looking to get out of that actual job in probably March or April. Depends on how well I perform in the next few months, but definitely this month actually really helped with that goal.
I see. All right. Okay. One more thing, I'm looking at your account equity here on the balance. You've had some losing streaks.
Hmm.
So how did you deal with that? What effect did it have on your psychology? Did you stick to your trading plan and just carried on no matter what? Or did you have to adjust your trading somehow?
Yes, it's definitely hard psychologically when you, let's say you're in profit and you start losing the profit you've already made. You try to you tend to stray from the strategy that you're working on. So I just kind of like have to regather myself, remind myself of my strategy, and just try to stick to it because I know it's been proven to work. So I just always kind of like try to regather myself mentally and take the next trade. Like I didn't lose like four or five trades in a row already, you know.
Right, right. Yeah, because at one point you were up on your account with $8,400. But
Hmm.
then, suddenly it dropped down slowly and constantly, and you were minus 5,500. But no matter
Hmm.
what, you perceived and you took it back 21,000. Yesterday also I was looking at your account, it was up 22,000 something, today 20,000. So outstanding performance, really.
Thank you, appreciate it.
But no worries. All right, let's switch back to our recording here. One sec. All right. Okay, perfect. We're back. Yeah, you've mentioned that already, right? So, if you follow some mentor or trading guru, that was that group BAS, or how was
It's
it?
BS Apps FX.
Mm-hmm.
It's run by a guy named Ben.
Mm-hmm.
He does do one-on-one trainings, and also he has a course. Actually, it's very cheap considering what other good people are putting out there, and for the amount that you're actually paying, it's a very good value for what you're getting.
All right. And do you follow somebody else, let's say on social networks?
To be honest, I used to follow a lot of traders, but they would always post their charts, and it would just kind of like mentally just throw me off my actual analysis. So I don't really follow anybody except for my actual mentor now.
Perfect, perfect. Yeah, we also have some traders from this group, which is very nice. I believe you follow also, you have some Telegram chat group there, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, right. Okay. Well, that's pretty much it, Daniel. What would be your last advice for traders who are in the challenge or verification? Something that you could, from your experience, from your journey, challenge verification, being funded with two accounts now, what advice would you give to those traders?
I would say focus mostly on building good habits, learning how to manage your risk, learning how to deal with bigger numbers, definitely, because I know a lot of people are working with smaller accounts, and kind of seeing these numbers, these bigger numbers fluctuate, it could kind of like mentally throw you off your game. So pretty much that, just the habits and pretty much the larger numbers, working on those.
I see. Your funded account, do you treat it differently compared to your challenge and verification, or do you treat it absolutely the same way as you were doing in the challenge and verification?
To be honest, I was a little bit more nervous for the challenge of verification. It felt like there was like a lot on the line. Like there is still a lot lined with the trading the trading account, but it did feel like it was very nerve wracking in the beginning. It was different experience. Definitely felt real. So it was a good experience to start off with.
I see. So the tension is gone now, being on the funded account?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I feel like I'm just gotten used to the larger numbers, so now I'm just it's more, it's less calm. It's more calm. Sorry.
All right, perfect. So thank you so much, Daniel. And I'll put a note for this group for traders who might be inspired. If they want to join this education group that you spoke about. So the
Mhm.
link will be down there in the description on this video. And that's pretty much it. Unless there's something else you want to tell our audience or our traders, give them some help, advice, anything.
No, that's pretty much it. It was an honor to do the interview. Thank you very much for having me here.
Likewise, thanks so much. You are our
All right,
funded
thank you.
traders. We hope for a long-term relationship, and I appreciate your time. Now, yeah, your time is now 40 minutes past midnight, right? So I believe it's time
Yeah,
for you to go sleep
exactly.
now.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Thanks, Daniel. I appreciate it. Have a good
All
day.
right,
See you.
all right. Thank you.
Cheers. Bye.